And hello. I'm Dan Lutz, and welcome to the latest broadcast. Today is Wednesday, April 24th, 2019, and we're been covering everything from GCR to Big Lie, Manna World Holding Trust, QAnon, and everything in between. Seems like we also have another meeting with Hawaiian groups today. Going to have that after the show. And, I have a couple other broadcasts I didn't put up from there, but they'll get posted. Also have an interesting thing that happened. So yesterday, after we finished the show, we went ahead and did another show, this one through Blog Talk Radio. And I simulcasted it onto YouTube. And there were people in there, and they were making comments. There was about 40 people that were for that broadcast. I appreciate that. Thank you. Now, afterwards, that video never appeared on my channel. It just never there. I said, okay. So I thought I was lying. I kept checking all night. So maybe it's going to take some time for it to process, something like that. I wasn't sure. So I kind of just was waiting, and then this morning I said, okay, well, it's still not there. I'm looking on my desktop. I broadcast on my laptop, and I went to my laptop to get started, and I said, oh, it's still up. The video from yesterday is still up. And I played it. It still plays. So I don't understand why it's not showing in my back office for YouTube. Never happened like that before. But anyway, just an interesting thing. I'm going to see if I can, manage it in some way to grab it and put it back up, or do something. Maybe if I edit it, I grab the link. I post. Actually, I'll post a link in our chat right now, since I am able to grab it. That's kind of interesting. That was made available. Now I only, again, so it's really interesting that I can only see it on one level though. So let me see. Give me the link. Now normally, now that was done a little bit differently than we've been doing the broadcast. It was not through Hangouts, but yeah, it's still here and it plays. And somehow I have 849 views on it. It's not showing up. Yeah, it's good, but it's I don't want to do this while we're live. I'm just going to put it into our chat. I guess we get the chat rolling on my screen. So how's it going, Tank?
Well, it's so far so good. I'm kind of hanging in limbo right now, waiting for an update.
Well, you know
After
who's advertising on the site? Interesting. Berkshire Hathaway was an ad on the site. I just
oh really?
That's an interesting advertiser that finds that my content is satisfactory according to YouTube, right?
Interesting. What does Berkshire Hathaway do? Not familiar with that.
Investment. It's Warren Buffett.
Ah, wow. Warren Buffett used to be one of the primaries in Wells Fargo, right?
Well, it could be. I actually never followed too much of his stuff. Occasionally, I tune into some things that he was doing, like when he was buying a lot of silver. you know, but
Well, he made his first $30 million on a revaluation of currency back in the 70s.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
All right. So I posted the YouTube link from yesterday in the chat, so everyone you can grab it. See if you can look at it. I have no idea why it's not showing in my back office. But okay. All right. So we're rolling now. Got everything. All right. So do we have any updates for today?
No, unfortunately, I don't have an update for today. Where it left off last night is that Kim identified the interferences, and she was working on clearing last night as late as 9:05 p.m. Where that left off, right now, I don't have an update, but I know it hasn't cleared. that much I can tell you. So I know the Pentagon. I'm sure everybody's having lots of meetings and everybody's doing what they can do. I still don't understand how it is that the Department of the Treasury is able to stop, or why they'd even be willing to stop transfers going through to fund projects. But that is exactly what's keeping us from being funded. So that's an unfortunate reality that we're kind of waiting this thing out, and but it's at some point it's all gotta collapse on them, and
Right.
I personally can't imagine it being too much more. I mean, you have the military has been waiting all this time, and they've been supporting the RV, thinking the RV was coming through, and I'm sure, from what I understand, it is a battle that is taking place on a very large scale. So we'll find out. I mean, Kim didn't even read my messages till just a little while ago, so that means she was either underground, on the run, because a lot of times when they don't get their way, they try to kill Kim, so she has to vacate the premises. That's a pretty standard practice. And then other times she's just working to get things done. So usually though, when she's working, she'll take the time to read and respond. So I would imagine she could be anything, but
could be anything.
Could be anything.
I imagine that the Pentagon switching sides doesn't mean they turn on the dime, right? They got to have some meetings, figure out how they're going to proceed. Take them some time, but hopefully this is not extended periods of time. So is the GCR back on?
It depends on the reports you read. From what I understand from all these different people, they seem to think it is. And I do think we, Dan and I talked about this today, that because more and more people are coming on board, and more people are realizing what the State of the Union is. So, just to clarify, we did start this broadcast because there is such a the GCR, the Global Currency Reset, and a separate event but connected is the revaluation. The original revaluation was designed for the Chinese and to the transfer of power to go to the Chinese. So these inflated rates on the ZIM and dinar and things of that nature were those contract rates you may have heard of. That was going to go for the Chinese. That would just happen for a couple of days was kind of the idea. And then it was supposed to be a big global currency reset where all currencies basically became, equal. Everything would equal the same thing. And people holding currencies in these different different walks of life. They were able to buy $1 million dinar for about $1,000 and 100 trillion them for about 50 cents. So, and the idea was that tiny investment was to restore humanity, and everybody would be filthy rich. And this was a massive plot to depopulate the planet, set off a trigger. And the idea behind the trigger was that you would first collapse the economy. And they spent many years, almost 50 years, just devaluing the dollar. And then what would happen is when you flooded the market with more counterfeit dollars to back up the currency exchange, what would happen is it would completely demolish the dollar, and the 136 countries that are directly attached, pegged to the dollar, and the 186 countries that are use the dollar every single day in their economy, pretty much you would collapse the world's economy overnight, and then they would show up and they would offer a solution after causing the problem. And their solution would be, well, first, that they would buy back everything for pennies on the dollar. So they would rule the world. The banks would implement cryptocurrencies, and everything would be digital. They do away with any hard cash, and therefore they would have to be the absolute regulatory controller of all financial matters, which would essentially make them the rulers of the world, and they would be able to implement their new world order. And because it's the goal not just to rule the world, but to rule in a way that is subservient to them, they would then launch biological weapons, which would cause a massive stir of disease that everyone would blame on, this random disease that popped up, some kind of super virus. And there's various options that I've heard of. One of which was the zombie virus, which would essentially cause a real life zombie apocalypse. And while this is happening, it would be such a highly contagious disease, and the military would be told that they have to be willing to shoot on sight if they see anyone who has not been cleared to be walking around. So they'd be authorized to essentially commit genocide of epic proportions. People would be herded into stadiums like they were during Katrina when they were herded into the Thunderdome. And then within that environment, a lot of us would just kill ourselves off because we'd be quarantined, and then we'd be given a airborne disease fed right through the air conditioning units and things of that nature. And while this is happening and the population is dying off, they basically would wipe out 90% of the population eventually through various acts of, war and disease, and then the added benefits of a already diminished population because of the fluoride in the water, the GMOs in the food, and the chemicals in the air. And then they would implement their new world order, which would govern every single thing, and it was also fully inclusive of slavery. And they were not apologizing for that it would be necessary to implement slavery to manage the population. And when it was 90%, in their mind, that would be the dream come true. You'd have a utopian Earth, just like it's written on the Georgia Guidestones. You reduce the population to a manageable number of 500 million people. That is a post-event Guidestone, literally written in stone. So that's why they never deviate from their plan. That's why they're so easy to defeat in Plan 4, even though we have nothing. And this has been their plan all along. But fortunately for everyone here on the planet, that is, in 2012, all their contracts expired, and therefore it was designed so that the quantum system, which is a quantum mapping system, which maps all of everything on the planet, all the assets on the planet, all of the life on the planet, and also maps, all possibilities. So the way it was designed is that in 2012, when all their contracts expired, then the human being with the most human DNA, as in the original human DNA, would be the only one who could access the quantum system and open that with her DNA. And that individual is Kimberly Ann Gogan, who has 99.8% bioidentical DNA to the mitochondrion Eve. for those of you who are not familiar, there's been studies done that trace all of the DNA of humanity around the planet back through the mitochondria of the cell, and they traced everyone back to one woman on the planet, and that first woman was, generically they call her the mitochondrial Eve, and Kim has that almost exact DNA. So she was able to access the system, and in that she learned for 2 years exactly what they were doing and how they spoke about people and what their thoughts on people were, and how they saw themselves as God. And that was the 154 plus people that were at the very, very top level. This is 13 levels above what most of us believe to be the top, with the Rothschilds. And this is way above the government. The government and the Rothschilds, all that is at the bottom 30%. And but to us, I mean, you can imagine where that puts us, by the way. And therefore, she watches happen, and she decided that she is the one that said she chose humanity above all others, and they gave her the option to repopulate a new Earth that was uninhabited with the other person who was had the missing 0.2% of the DNA, and she rejected that offer, and she said she chose humanity. So therefore, she has been working ever since to bring those assets back in to the world, and they had 5 years as of 2012 to 2017 to redistribute the assets of the world back to the people and the countries, and they failed in doing that. So as of 2017, Kim has been actively working to bring those funds in directly to the people and to the governments, not the corporations either, the governments, because all of their corporate contracts have expired. That includes the Federal Reserve, which no longer has a charter. That's why the Federal Reserve has not raised their interest rates. That includes the IMF and the World Bank and all of the UCC guidelines, all the things that have held us hostage for our entire lives. And we spent a lifetime trying to fight. All of those things are expired. And at this time, you really are living under natural law for the first time in your life. And that's why people like Tui come on and we talk about the 5 original tribes of the planet and the original agreements of the Ra Confederacy, the Raza, Zara Confederacy, and all these different things of that nature, which basically allows humanity to return as the caretakers of the planet. And so that brings us up to now.
Well, that was a good rundown summary of what we've been covering. That's excellent. Thank you.
Yep.
I've got some interesting other news. I was watching X22 report. I left it up on screens. It's from today, and the information that he's putting out there is from Judicial Watch. Tom Fenton from Judicial Watch, and the title of that is "Game Over." Game over. So
yep.
The reason he's saying "game over" is because now Judicial Watch finally has some very interesting information disclosed to them through their Freedom of Information Acts that they've been using, and that is that there is a tie now evident that Obama himself helped hide the Hillary emails in the White House. So this is now better. So now he's tied in. Everyone was talking about, and it may go all the way up to Obama. I'm always talking around it. This is the first tie-in of Obama into it, and of course, just after the Mueller report, right? This information gets put into Tom Fenton's hands, and he's bringing it forward. Not only that, he also brought out information about Adam Schiff and proof that he was actually the one responsible for the leaks that occurred, and that so now he has proof of that. So that means he's violated the ethics rules of the House, and he should be removed from that status of being the chairman of the Intelligence Committee. So that kind of information is now like these are like major booms, right? Boom. That's a double boom. They're both now tied into actually illegal wrongdoing. So that's Obama and Shift, in two different sections, but all on the same battle, right? So we can see that there's a major changes that are going on right now.
I think that's really encouraging. Tom Fitton does a great job. I mean, he's on a whole other level, right? With the lawsuits they've been filing nonstop to demand, certain information. And so, Dan, talk to me about this with what you see. What does this mean, right? Because I think a lot of people hear stuff like, you know, like I still don't know what the deep state's talking about with, that they need to impeach President Trump. To me, it's very obvious. The only reason why you want to impeach him is so that he doesn't bring out damning evidence to convict all of these criminals. So, they're just, it doesn't even seem like they're trying to hide it because doesn't seem to be any real reason to impeach. What is it they're trying to claim?
Well, it doesn't matter what they're trying to claim because none of it exists, right? So they have a very big problem. And since they were so wound up for the Mueller report to get them started on impeachment, they're just going to continue their plan. Just like when the cabal lost all of their leaders, they just continued the plan. These people are not creative. They don't know what to do. They set up structure that's been, thought out in committees. It's like, where did the Obamacare come from? Right? It was a fully, giant package delivered, and by think tanks, right? So they can't think in Congress. Us putting Trump into office put a thinker into office. So they're not able to really think their way out of a paper bag. So they're just going with what they know. That is impeach, impeach, impeach. They've been all, but taught that. Even when you see all of the protests, they bring in their protesters that were paid for the day, and they give them they speak to them just like they're in class. So they repeat, the mantras, right? And so they're just continuing repeating the mantra. They don't know anything else. That being said, they have no idea what is coming at them. When you have Sarah Carter and Hannity basically saying that there is a tidal wave coming out over the next 2 months of information, it's going to wash away any of this talk about impeachment. It's just not going to go anywhere. They can start and put some things. 100 of the congressmen all put it out a different impeachment. It's not going to go anywhere because no one is going to be covering it because all of the other stuff is going to be so much more. Just like this information released right now, tying Obama to the Hillary email cover up directly.
So explain that a little bit. So what exactly is the evidence that came out?
I just was listening just before coming on. So I haven't gone and read anything, but I would suggest going to Judicial Watch, going to their press room and reading the articles that they're putting out there, because that outlines exactly what it was. But it had something to do with emails that were hidden away in the White House, and he had given out information, I guess traceable information for them to remove that. I've not read it. I gleaned this just before getting on the air. Literally, see it's.
Okay, well, so I do have it. So I think this is important to read. So
okay, you got it.
Yeah. So this is Judicial Watch announced today that a senior FBI official admitted in writing and under oath that the agency found Clinton email records in the Obama White House, specifically the executive office of the president. So in other words, the emails that allegedly were all destroyed and the server and
bleach
they were
wash,
all lost and bleach wash, right? And all of those they disappeared. that were not produced. Right? That's the claim. They were not produced by them. They were discovered in the Obama White House. Correct?
Yes.
So now it doesn't say if these emails were particularly damning, but it doesn't really matter because basically Hillary Clinton put out confidential information, right?
Right. And
That
then lied about it.
right, and then lied about it. That she didn't put out any confidential information. Now, meanwhile, we've got everything in every different direction that is
Well,
trying to make.
so Flynn, General Flynn, up for going to jail for lying. Right? So is the stage set for other people to go to jail for lying? Because they all say, "Oh, Flynn is guilty. He lied, so he's going to go to jail." So just on lying, Hillary would go to jail, let alone the stuff that is going to be coming out. The rest of it,
Back in like 5 minutes.
It'll be so much greater amount of information that's coming.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, this is where I love what President Trump said the other day, and this was great. He said that we are going to bring back the rule of law to the United States. And this is exactly why it's so important, right? Because he said we are going to enforce the laws. Right? Imagine, like right now, there's all this controversy, but in reality, there's no controversy. Think about it. There's laws. Just enforce them. If all they did was enforce the laws right now, there wouldn't be all this drama.
That's why this was a criminal enterprise all the way up to the White House, all for many administrations, not just Obama's, going back through all of the last ones. You can go all the way back to Reagan and Reagan, and then before Reagan is only Kennedy. So just everyone else is on the cabal side in some way or fashion, being controlled or at least in alignment with certain things, and went along with it. I hear that Nixon kind of changed afterwards, and that's one of the reasons why he was taken out. But they're not enforcing the laws at that level. There's two sides. There's the chattel side, the debt slave side. They all get pounded with these rules, regulations, statutes. They get pounded and pounded and pounded. But the people on the elite side means nothing to them. They've been excluded from having to be under those.
That is the key to what. Okay, so to anybody who does not understand this, we have the Constitution, and that's established by the Republic of the United States, right? And it might be the Republic for the United States, right? So, because people are always correcting me on that, I'm sorry, I have a hard time straightening it out. But so you have that, and the way that's set up is a government that draws its power and authority from the governed. Then you have the corporate structures that came in, and basically, they made a mirror, right, of this corporate structure of the United States of America in all caps.
Yeah,
right, and another entity. And what happened is the Republic officials at that time, they agreed to it, right? They signed off on it, and they basically signed over our sovereignty. And so all of the constitutional laws go out the window, right? All the natural law, because if you look at the Constitution, it's written under natural and universal law, right? And so all that goes out the window, and now gives way to universal contract code, right, or whatever it's called. And so you have UCC laws, which have trumped everything we've done since then because we were contractually obligated to these laws. So therefore, everybody in the corporation was not subject to real laws. That's why they've always gotten away with murder. Now that has expired as of 2014. All of those UCC laws are gone. They're all expired. That also means that as of 2016, that the election that was held makes President Trump the actual president for the Republic of the United States of America, right? So he is the real Republic president. Therefore, the laws of the land now have to be imposed. The problem is that most people have no idea that's happened, right? So President Trump's quote, just to put it out there because I think it's important, right? This is his address to the Department of Homeland Security, right? And he said, I am asking all of you to enforce the laws of the United States of America. We are going to restore the rule of law in the United States. Now, the reason why that's important is because it's been the wild, wild west, right? No one can understand why is it that, I break a law and I can go to jail, but Hillary Clinton can break a law and everyone just laughs it off, you know, and that has been the standard.
Who's the everyone, right? When we talk about that, where does that emanate from? That emanates from the press, the mainstream press. Right? They're the ones that are all laughing off and not a big deal. They're setting the tone for the minions out there to follow. They set that frequency up. Oh, they're laughing off.
Yes.
I'll follow in line, right? They're taught to follow. So this is also a reason why the mainstream media is in the crosshairs. They are going to be removed. They are. They're not going to stay there. Whether it's the New York Times or it's CNN, CBS, ABC, for CBS, NBC, ABC. Yeah. So any of they're all going to be taken over because they are in violation of their charters. They're breaking the law, right? They're not news organizations, right? They're magazines. They're giving opinion, right? There used to be a difference between news and opinion. There used to be separate sections, right? Now you can't tell the difference because the news is all gone. I think I said this on a previous show is that when I was in India, my first wife was from India, married 18 years, and there I spent a lot of time in India. I read newspapers, and I'm 22 years old the first time I'm there. I'm having a field day reading English newspapers because it was all filled with news. I mean, real stories and news. They're, and coming from where I use the L.A. Times, for to put underneath the animals, right? You get something to do with it other than I only look forward to getting the movie section, right? So I can see what's playing in the movies. The rest of it was really garbage. So anyway, so yeah, there's these two.
I think it's a great point, by the way. And you know what? And what I like that I'm seeing, right? And they're still kind of hedging their bets, and I just don't know if those of us in the know have really stood up stout enough to capitalize on this moment. But you're seeing places like the New York Times coming out and demanding an apology, right? Or not demanding, who are saying that President Trump deserves an apology. You're seeing
why are they doing? Why are they now at that point where they're going to be saying, "Hey, we owe you an apology"? This shows the tide has changed. Things have moved to a completely different direction, and we're going to see this happening across the board because they're going to try and save their butts. The news is in the crosshairs. Right? They are going to be. That's the whole purpose of the 8chan QAnon type system was for that reason. It was set up for direct communication channel from Trump to speak and get the news out. Hey, look over here. But it's much more personal than news has ever been because it literally is engaging people. And if anyone out there finds a story, they say, "Oh yeah, they recognize you." It'll appear on a presidential tweet, right? I would be surprised if the Rod Rosenstein video I put out there, which is close to 12,000 views in 3 days. So that's doing good. That it appears on a Trump tweet because he's done it before. It's
Sure.
Whatever they want to draw attention to, they're now do it, but it's coming from the people.
Yep. I know that not long ago, last year sometime, Kim had presented the concept for create change, to President Trump, and President Trump had agreed to endorse us, right? Create change, and so there's a letter out there somewhere that I think Kim has that supports the work that we plan to do in community revitalization, right? And I remember listening to President Trump in one of his speeches, and he quoted, exactly from um, some of the things we wrote, and I was like, all right, I'll take that. I'll take. No, nobody else knew, but I knew. So I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I'm a believer.
Well, that's good. I think I'd said this before. We should have a Q proof, and a Q proof is where Trump will tweet out something that will match what is said on QAnon that proves a particular point. And one, it could be just that there's that Q is linked up with Trump. That's one of the often points made. But sometimes they're about a specific topic. And I suggested that we do a request that Trump puts out in a tweet, and then QAnon follow up, where they use Kim and Manna in the same presidential tweet / QAnon post. It could be that he could write it as North Korea, right? Kim Jong Un, right?
Hey,
seeing the light, the Manna is going to fall down from heaven, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then on the QAnon side, on the QAnon side, they put out something about the reshaping the financial system, and there's that three prongs of the pyramid, right? So that could come out on that side and say, well, this is basically the replacement of those three sides.
Yeah.
So anyway, that would be something we should shoot to try and make happen, because that would actually then engage the people in the QAnon side, which then we're talking about millions and millions of people every day. I think this was even 6 months ago. I think they were topping into 3 million people a day on the QAnon site.
Well, you know what would also be great? Just fund our projects, right? And then go out and tell everybody how it's all you. Listen, President Trump, you could take credit for every bit of this. I guarantee Kim won't care, neither will I. Go get it done. Just make sure, like, hey, all you at the Pentagon, the military, listen, be a hero to your kids. Go down in the history books. Look, I'll let you have all the credit. You can be the rock star. I'll tell everybody it was you, how you saved the day. I'll write articles glowing and professing about your heroism, all that. You know what I care about? I care about changing the world. Okay, I don't need to take credit. So how about we stop playing all these stupid games and we just get the job done? Because at the end of the day, this comes down to a matter of seconds. A matter of seconds it takes to bring this money in. And then it takes a matter of moments for someone to realize that these are human beings, that you have their lives that you have in your hands. That every one of the people at the Pentagon, every one of the people at the Department of the Treasury, everybody in the White House, everybody in these government offices, everybody who's willingly participated in their own genocide for the cabal because they thought they were special, they thought they were above us, who every one of them legally, their contracts that they used to enslave us have expired. Every one of you are people. You're regular people, and you're making decisions about other people. And you are not better than these people because you've limited what they knew, because you drugged them, because you've exposed them to harsh frequencies, you've limited their lives, and you've given them no opportunity to thrive. But we'll forgive you for that. We'll forgive you for that. Just let the people go. Let people get free. Just do that. Do that. So sick of these silly games. We shouldn't have to jump through hoops to take something that belongs to us. We shouldn't have to jump through hoops and play these silly, nonsensical games.
On the playground, right? You always had the kid that had the ball in his hand, right? And it was his ball. He didn't want to play anymore, so he didn't let anyone play with his ball. So we now have on the playground say, some general somewhere or some president of these other countries. They're all sitting with their dinar and their Zimbabwe currencies, and they're waiting for the RV, right? And they don't want to play anything else. So they're going to just sit on their ball, right, and not have anything happen, because it's it's all ego driven. If you were on the wrong side, flip, right? Just stop it. Stop it.
Stop. Yeah.
Just stop it. Flip over, and become a hero. It's a very perfect analogy. The idea that we're able to change this right now and we're not doing it because someone that was wanting their Zim to be revalued. It's stupid. They don't have the assets that's been proven. Hey, why didn't the RV happen? Is there any reason? Everybody's in agreement. Why isn't it happening? Is it the weather? Easter's over. Yeah.
Saint Germain didn't open the doors to the Magic Trust, the multi-dimensional system where the real wealth is kept, because I don't know what I'm talking about, right? Because we're all frauds, right? Because the real wealth, the real masters of the wealth, they hold this in other dimensions. Where are you at? Bring it out. Come on the show. Let's talk. Matter of fact, I think we're gonna go on Blog Talk after this. I'll tell you what. I'll put myself out there for 5 hours tonight. I'll keep talking till you come on. Any one of you come on and prove me wrong. Any one of you. Joke.
There you go.
You know what? At some point, like some of these guys should be in an interesting situation. I know for a fact that some of these really prominent guys that are out there that have wanted to run their mouth about we're a joke and Kim's not real and she's not the real one. The codes don't exist. Okay. Well, I happen to know a lot of them. The reason why they're so cocky is because they're connected directly to the military. I would love to hear from the military today. I would love to hear from somebody in the military who knows what's going on. I would love to hear from one of the white hat commanders who I would talk to, or some of the guys on the ground who I used to talk to. When things were going down. Because you all know I gave you the information to go and root these things out. I told you what was happening. So now what I'm saying is, hey, let's open the door. Like bygones be bygones. We all got deceived. Let's all go do right together too. Let's all move forward together. We could do this right now. And I would love to hear them be like, you know what? This is what's going down, and we're in a better place now, and we're about to make it right. I would love to have somebody of the most courageous men and women on the planet, the most honorable, the most dedicated, who've been out there, who were deceived, just like we all were. Come on and talk about it.
Yeah, I could put the link out now too into the chat room.
That's okay. I like it on the when we do a blog talk later. How are we doing that, Dan? We're gonna jump on. We're gonna.
Yeah, we'll attempt to do it the same way we did yesterday. It'll probably be a little more smoother, but I'm gonna.
Smoother.
But I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can see why the other one didn't end up registering after its first time. I've done live, direct encoding before, and there was no problem. It showed up. I want to see why this one didn't. That we do the same thing because it worked, but we'll change up the next day. A little bit more time in to fix things. Okay. I'm gonna send Tui our link though right now.
Yeah, let's do that. It's funny. I got hit up by one of my military people, and they told me they said be direct. Make sure you create a sense of urgency. Tell it like it is. And I got hit up by one of my energy workers, and they said, listen, make sure you open the door for everybody. Make sure everybody feels welcome, right, and not condemned. I'm like, wow, it's almost a conflict, but
some of them just need a kick in the butt.
Yeah.
They're holding their ball in the middle of the playground, right? And they're just ignoring everything that else is going on around them. Focused on what's wrong and why it's not happening and why they don't, and all their plans and everything. Stop it.
Yep.
This is okay. Game over. The things are moving forward. It's just time for you to go ahead and change your position and jump on over. It's okay. Water's fine over here, nice and warm. Everyone's friendly.
You know what? I would talk to. I used to talk a lot about this in my my church. Was, you know what? It's not enough to be right, right? Because a lot of us are right fighters. It doesn't mean that we're fighting for the right, to do right. It's we want to be right. So we'll fight our tail off to be right, right? And we'll find ourselves in a fight with someone we really love, right? And we might be right, but because we're arguing so wrong, the way we're doing it is so wrong, the way we're talking to them is so wrong, because you would never talk to someone you love this way if you were sober minded in that moment. But because you're fighting to be right so hard, you end up hurting the person that you love, right? So it's not enough to be right. You also have to be effective, right? And in this case, you're not even that. You're not either one of them. You haven't been right and you haven't been effective. So now you have this great opportunity, you know, this great opportunity. Everybody's got this great opportunity. Like, you know what? You can just see what's right. So now, even, you know what? You want to change the world today. If any politician, anyone, any one of these people out there just, who have just been running President Trump down and just running down, conservative values and conservatives and creating this lie, any one of you, if you have the heart to just be honest, just be honest. Just come out and do what no one has ever done in that whole political arena, because for some reason you think it's better to be a complete liar, and just so you don't become a somebody who flip flops on topics, right? Like that's such a bad thing. But the reality is, what we want our politicians to be, what we want our leaders to be, we want them to be people that when they find out better information, that they change their mind. Because that's what real leaders do. Real leaders make the best decisions for the people they represent. So if you found out new information, we would all appreciate it as the people you represent for you to make better decisions versus holding your ground to ensure you don't get called names by the other politicians, right? Because who cares? Man up, woman up, just own up and be better than what you've been. Why not just come out? I mean, imagine this. This would rock the world if somebody came out, tomorrow and they were like, to be quite honest, we were misguided. We were focused on, impeaching the president, and we don't regularly examine information. We don't really look at it. We kind of just follow the script, and we kind of all just follow the same pattern. You know what? It's wrong, and I'm sorry. Oh
No,
my gosh, it would be revolutionary. I mean, imagine. Imagine the cosmic shift in the universe. I mean, you might have rainbows shoot out of the top of the Capitol building. It'd be amazing.
I'm sharing a painting that's done by my my crayon artist friend Daniel Kaufman, right? And so he was a devotee of Maharishi Mahayogi, and he used to say this thing to me all the time. It's one of the sayings of Maharishi. It was, "Would you rather be right or happy?"
Ah, yes.
Yeah. So I would say, well, I want to be both. but what that meant to me is, as soon as I find out that I'm wrong, I admit it right away and switch.
Yeah, me too.
Right?
Me too.
Because I want to be right and happy.
Me too.
Yeah.
I don't, and I honestly, I don't think it takes away from anything. If you're wrong, I mean, whenever I've been wrong, believe me, I've been sincerely wrong. Like I really thought what I was saying was true. But at the core of everything I'm trying to do, I'm always trying to help people. I'm always trying to make the world a better place. I'm like everybody else. I want to get out of this trap. I want to be liberated. I want to be free, just like you. So I don't mind. Look, I don't mind being wrong. Along the way, I don't mind. And every time, and when I was wrong, here's what you can bank on. When I'm wrong and I know it, I will not stay there. You will never hear me talk about it again. I will not come back out and repeat the same wrong thing because I take correction. It's the most valuable attribute any human being can have if they want to continue to grow and to live strong. Be willing to take correction. The scriptures say, examine yourself. Make sure your own calling and election is sure. I think about that all the time. I want to make sure that I am fighting for the good guys in the best possible way. I want to make sure I'm involved and I'm representing myself, my family, my children, my parents, my country, my planet, you know, my whatever deep galactic origin I come from, whatever it is. Whatever it is, I want to represent that with the most integrity, the most honor. If whatever it is, we should be an ambassador to whatever it is that we represent. And we should just own that and just be willing to be wrong so that you can be right. Because the longer you hold on to being wrong, the further the journey is to get right. You just keep continuing down a path that's taking you away from what you want to be. So, and I think that's happy. That's why the pursuit of happiness is in the Constitution. Because you deserve to be happy. That's a God-given right. But you know what? Not everybody gets to be happy.
No, to pursue.
Yes, I know. I would say you deserve to be happy. Actually, that's my personal.
No, I agree. No, I agree. Yeah. In the Constitution, you have the right to pursue.
Right.
Pursue happiness, and that's correct. I mean, everyone it's a life of pursuit, and you have to make your choices. So choose to be right when you realize you're wrong. If the RV didn't happen already, you're wrong. You're on the wrong side. And why is this woman, this this it's just this one woman able to do these things, right? But now you're part of a team that's strategizing on how to kill her. Hello, it's just a woman.
Right. If you're on one of those teams right now and you're like up there and you're strategizing with your guys and you're laying in the bush somewhere and you just thought, hey, let's watch Dan and Tank quick, and this is right now. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to pull your guys together, and I want you just to throw this at them like, hey guys, you know what? I think we're on the wrong team. Let's not do this because no one ever comes back from this. Do you guys know that? You know that nobody comes back from this? Because if they knew that, I feel like they might bail. And by the way, she's for you. She controls your accounts. If you kill her, you'll never get your hidden mercenary money that you have there. You'll never get it. Never, never, never. In addition to the GCR will never happen either. But genocide will. You will get genocide. So it's a decision. I feel like it's kind of a no-brainer if you really weigh it out carefully. It's genocide or life.
Yeah, that's the ultimate choice that we've been making is life or death, genocide. Now we have obviously the things that have not happened yet in the GCR weighing up against all the things that are happening. So if you have to ask yourself, why hasn't the GCR happened? Why is it that it's still tomorrow? is it really the next big thing? And how many times has it been already brought up to this feverish pace where you know that it's already there. The money's in the accounts. I know people that have seen the money in the accounts. They looked at the screens. They saw the money there. They can't move it now. Oh, it's right. Just get the mirror. Get the mirror. I can't get it right. So
Right.
this money is not for the benefit of everyone. You end up and your family ends up dead. That's ultimately the plan. The Agenda 21, now 2030, is there. Why do they have to reset the date? Agenda 21. Why did they have to reset it to 2030? What happened there? They can't kill off everyone? Well, because Trump got in office and the whole plan has gone through thrown away. The tide has turned. You should figure out what side you want to be on and jump on. It doesn't make any sense to be on that side, no matter how high you are up on it. It's
Like, come on, a team human. Like, before you. Like, if you're a human, you can come on board. Like, we're with you, right? Like, we're for the people, and if you're a person, you should be working for the people as well. And if you work for somebody who thinks they're a god and they act like a homicidal maniac and they just want to control the world and they're telling you lies like, listen, we have to do this. We have to annihilate 90% of the population or the planet won't survive. They're retarded, okay? They don't know what they're talking about. They don't have a clue about what's going on in the world. They're lying to you and they're acting. And they're probably a psychopath who's been trained to act like what drama looks like. They probably don't really feel that way. They're not really scared. They just say stuff really dramatically, right? And it's the same way you have these actors who come out to they're just appalled at with the MAGA hats, or they're appalled by all of these different things going on. They're not really. They're really not. They're just actors. They're just acting like what they think concern looks like, but they're not. They're not real. They're not real.
Yeah,
So
I was working on some "Make America Great Always" logos last night.
nice.
Bring this one up. Instead of "Make America Great Again," always. I'm going to share it.
I forgot. I should.
There we go.
Okay. It looks like the font's cool. I don't like the layout though.
The layout is not correct, but that's just the way it the font generator that I use laid it out. So I'll reorientate it. But the other way to spell always would actually be ALL, then ways.
Oh, always, right.
So I did both of them. I can only present one at a time, though.
That's like the universe is conspiring. The universe is always conspiring for you in all ways.
Yeah.
That's right. I'm a believer.
Well, we've got the power. That's why there's so much happening. Oh, we've got another meeting with Hawaiians today. If you're up for it,
I'm down for the cause. I'm in.
I'll be sending out the link. It's 8 p.m. Hawaiian time, so I'm not exactly sure. I'd probably say like one or 2 in the morning for you, something like that. But I'll.
Oh yeah, that's fine. I'll be up. I'll get on the call.
Well, that means if we do, that would kind of conflict though if you end up doing 5 hours on Blog Talk Radio.
No, I won't do 5 hours. We'll go from this. We'll jump on Blog Talk. We'll get anybody that wants to ask questions, if they have anything they want to come on and talk about. We'll probably go live on Blog Talk at 11 o'clock. So that's speakproradio.com. And we will open those lines up so people can come on, and it's much easier just to call into that. And you can call in, and we had some, we had a few callers last night. This is something new, so I don't, I'm not. We're just trying to get it in alignment. We get like 2 hours of broadcast time per day, so um, we want to set that off later after this, so everybody can participate. So if you have a great project you want to talk about, if you have a great question that you've always wanted to ask but you never get to, I promise if we don't know the answer, um, I will definitely be able to get it for you. In most cases, please don't call in and say, when are we going to get the funding? Like, well, you know what? We spend 3 hours talking about that almost every day. So I'm telling you all the obstacles and doing my best to get you that information. So please call with unique, amazing, and interesting stories, questions, testimonies,
Of course, the first
ideologies.
one on is going to say, when does the funding come in?
The very first person.
Yeah.
I know. Everybody's going to call with that joke. Listen, by the way, it's not funny. If you call it big jokes, I will hang up on you that second. Just to let you know, just fair warning. Fair warning. It's out there.
Where did he go? Boom, gone.
Like, yeah, the first one I get like that, gone. So, yeah.
I'm just going through our chats here on the super chat, see if there's any questions. If you have a question, you could always just go ahead and put a Q in front. That was it's a very good way of doing it, and then easy to pick out the questions that way. We're going to talk about city states and things like that. One of the other things. Go ahead.
No, yes, I saw Alexandria Cortez again with bad information by her handlers. Right, she got up to speak at this some school somewhere in the Bronx, and she says talking about veterans hospitals, and she goes, you know what? They get the best care. If it's not broke, don't fix it. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, wow, she really does no research. Like, nobody in Cortez's office is on her team, because nobody would have let her say that, because there's nobody. The veterans hospitals are horrendous. They've been horrendous. Talk to a veteran about what they're doing. I'm telling you what, that is a slap in the face. I mean, I can't believe they let her say that.
Yeah, there was, I experienced it with my father, taking him to the VA all the time. And, as I told you before, I think yesterday was, he was on, all these medications, and they reduced it all the way down to 6, and it ended up being about 8. And this is this kind of thing is just because they don't really care. Right. That's the way I look. And the bureaucracy workers there. One of the other things, I give you an example. My father I just finished a surgery. He was on a catheter, and they scheduled him to come back to remove the catheter. And it's like two weeks later. Okay, right. He's not enjoying this for 2 weeks, right? It's due to be removed. So we get back, right, and we get there about, it's traffic and everything. It was really weird. Where we're literally only 10 minutes away from the VA hospital, and there was so much traffic jam that was around the place that it took us about an hour and a half to make it there. It was just crawling. So we're late, right? About an hour late, and this said, well, I'm sorry, we can't do this now. No, it's just a catheter. This is not like a major surgical operation, right? This is something that someone who's experienced, they get this thing removed, and it doesn't take much time. And he said, well, okay, we'll have to reschedule you. We reschedule it. So, and then the next scheduled date was a month from now. And I said, no, this isn't going to be, this isn't it. I'll pull it out of him right here, right now. And you deal with the medical emergency sitting here on your floor. So,
right.
Anyway, it was the guy was a bureaucrat looking at a computer screen no care for the patient, and he's just going by what's in the regulation, right? That's not real. That's not real care.
That's right.
And this happens across the board for everyone. That's a simple example. It's a simple example. It goes very deep from there.
Yep. And that is the reality, and we have to stop pretending like things that are evil are good. We have to stop pretending like things that are not okay are okay. Kamala Harris came out today and she was talking about how we need to make sure that convicted terrorists, pedophiles, and murderers have the opportunity to vote. How is that her platform? And she wants to run for president, right? So, of all the people that you have a concern about, you want to make sure those people have a voice. Really? I mean, of all the things that are pertinent and urgent and necessary, why that? Why is that the issue? It's almost like
that's where they have their votes.
Yes, I guess
it's their people, right? Criminals.
Right. And it says right. It doesn't even make sense. Like again, back to enforcing laws. It says in the Constitution that you have to be a citizen to vote. You have to. You can't just. But I don't even understand how that happened.
On that, just so you know, it seems though the Supreme Court is kind of already giving some heads up on that, putting the questionnaire for the census to whether you're a citizen or not. They're already announced that it's already leaking out that they're saying that this is going to pass. I mean, they're going to make sure that it gets on there. That question will be there. So next is going to be voter ID. That's going to come from all of the analyzing of the previous election, that last election, the midterms, and they bring out all of the evidence to show this. This is a whole other front that's coming down the line that they've been working on. They have that whole department that has been working to find the evidence, and that's why they let all of these things slide. They were gathering evidence, because Obama gave a blanket. I forgot what
order. He gave a blanket order.
Not no, it's actually when you forgive someone for a crime, pardon. Yeah, pardon. Yeah, so the blanket pardon for all of these people that were committing election fraud, everyone in the White House. He basically gave them a blanket for all crimes before he left office. So anything that happened before then, now that only covers certain types of crimes. It doesn't. It's all has to do with like civil and things like that. But other things they keep they can't get covered for. But in any case, they have to gather new evidence, to get these people, and they have to. And by doing this, they're going to then say, okay, we have to have the voter ID, and then they're going to say, okay, everyone ready to vote, you're going to have a voter ID.
Now, doesn't it seem kind of ridiculous though? Like you're going to vote. I mean, I have to have an ID in my town. Why does any town exist where you don't have to unless it's designed for voter fraud?
Yeah. Do you have to have an ID when you get a library book?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And a library card at least.
About when you buy some liquor, and none of the liquor store.
I mean, they're a little more lenient, but but I suppose it's good to have one, though. It's good to have one.
Yeah. Well, that's I was still being carded into my 30s, so I was like, oh, yeah. So
I get carded now from time to time just to be I think it's just to be polite, and I appreciate it every time. So
okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah. Yes, I am of age. Thank you.
Oh, Tui's here.
Silent spirit.
Hey Dan, hey Tank.
Hey, how's it going, Tui? How's Fiji today?
Fiji is good. Yeah, it's just recovering from the bad weather. Not the bad weather, but the rain. I personally love the rain, so a lot of people think it's it's not good weather. I say no, it's good weather for the plants.
Yeah, send some of that this way. I could use some water. I mean, I collect rainwater for my house. So
Yeah. Yeah, we have a lot of rainwater right now. So I know Kevin will be, because he was so excited to bath in the rainwater and drink rainwater, pure water from heaven, sky water. He said, yeah, it's gonna heal you straight from from untouched and then straight to your to revitalize the body and revitalize the mind. And it was it's a healing experience that he came and experienced. Yeah, and Fiji is what we were talking about yesterday. Right now we're working on that part that we're trying to actually get access to the central bank, and so there are some people in there working in the central bank, assistant governor, that understands what is needed. And I know we'll be working with Tank, and we'll be able to advise us on things that we can actually do from this side. This is just to in preparation, and if when the time comes for transfers and for funds and all that, we can do it easily. Yeah. So there's a lot of.
You're waiting on the sovereignty letter from Kim.
Yeah, we'll wait because it's totally up to her. It's that's her agreement. Once she can fulfill that role and what she's doing, she feels that it's completely. She has control over the financial system, and she can do what she does. She'll be able to. She will know what to actually do, and that will trigger everything, and it will cause us to be able to fulfill the role that we are trying to fulfill, and everything will just cascade from there. All the needs that has been needed right now, like I was saying yesterday, the vacation, the awareness, that's the role that we'll be playing. Because like Tank knows, there's so many people that do not know anything about what the trust is and what the trust represents to humanity, and that is needed. That awareness is needed to everyone. There's so many people, like in Australia, New Zealand, all over. They understand about sovereignty and the sovereignty movement, but they don't have any idea of how the physical representation and what the trusts represent in what sovereignty is. And they want to go against, like they want to use the judiciary system to try and gain sovereignty, but they're still inside the system. So no matter how much sovereignty they try to express within they're still inside the prison. And to be able to free themselves truly and fully, they will have to understand this new creation that everyone here that is involved here, and everyone in the trust, and everyone in the know, everyone in the projects, they have to understand what's actually going on. And a lot of times I see them, I hear them, they're almost alone wherever they are. And I know as soon as we get in touch, all those questions, all those doubts, all those things that they are stuck on will be able to make sense, and they will be able to truly create and make themselves sovereign. Right now they think to be sovereign, like you said, or the term sovereign citizen. They think they are sovereign, but they're still a citizen. So they simply, it's like they're still a slave, even though they think they're sovereign. And it's like it's negated. In a word, you mean sovereign, that means freedom, and then you say you're a citizen, that means slave. So I'm a sovereign slave. So
That's right.
and so they go on fighting with the police, they go on fighting with the system, they go on, they're trying to prove their sovereignty to everyone, but they do not know that they're proving their sovereignty in I know you understand what I'm talking about, but I can't express that in English properly.
Well, then you have the controversy between the big C citizen and the small C citizen.
Yeah, no, even citizen, the word citizen, I don't like the English word citizen, because citizen is simply,
it means slave. You're right.
It means slave. Yeah, and so that's why you're a citizen. That's why you have, you have that, what you call this, the birth certificate. So you're still a citizen, even if you try to change it to a status of, accreditation decided to be an accreditor or not a debtor, you're still inside the system. You're still living inside the system.
Right.
They'll still be, all this has to change. They will have, the whole system will need to overhaul itself. So,
Well, back in when they basically changed the terminology of what the meaning of the word person meant back in 1978, was it? Something like that. So that made it everything except a living man or woman. So you can be a vase, you could be a book, you can be anything on the shelf, being a person. So I think it might be better that we just invalidate all previous definitions and use the definition that people accept as what they actually mean and make them truly mean that.
Yeah, the trick, I think what we're going to do here in Fiji is teach the real all the meanings of all the different status of whether you are in a free status or in a slave status, so that people will be able to see the truth according to what they mean and the context of the words they use, especially the English word, because we don't have this in our Fijian language. We don't have a we don't have all this facade of trickery, and they use this in the language, the English language. So that's why the English language is a language of slave, and that's the language that they've used to actually enslave everyone on the planet.
Well,
So
I made a suggestion before is that we use a form of Pig Latin, right? That Pig Latin is just altering the English language, and then you can hear it, you can speak it very easily if you know English. Pig Latin comes very easy. But instead of doing it, remove the first letter, right, and the second letter you double. So in the case of citizen, you'll be actually remove the I, right? So instead of C, remove the C, you have I listen. It'll be I listen. So we'll have I.
And that's the funny thing, that's the funny thing about what Pig Latin is. That's the funny thing about it. It's Pig Latin that creates the nullification of all the values of what it means to be sovereign, because they use Pig Latin, and so we can just we just use the intention from the heart to be able to translate the value of what you're saying, and that way people will become truly sovereign, because what they're saying, it comes from the intention of the mind, the heart, and the soul. And so if the only thing that people have to learn this, so that they can truly understand the intention of why these words are spoken, and why these words have meaning, and the meaning that it comes behind all these things that has been said. So once people fully have this power, this awareness, there'll be no words that will be able to harm anyone, because they will be able to reevaluate everything and really truly see the intention of what the word truly means, or why the word has been said, has been expressed. And that's what we are going to be doing. That's what I was doing here today before I came on the call. I was talking to them about the intention, because that's the pureness of the spirit inside. No longer, it's no longer eluded by words or the action. It comes from within. Like I told them about how trust has been created. An agreement, how it is created. It's created by the intent of the mind. But if the intent is, is not, it's not the way it's supposed to be, it's in a trick side, then the whole agreement becomes a curse, and it doesn't, it doesn't fulfill its purpose. Like I told them today, an example is marriage. Marriage, if the agreement is done, and you sign it down, and then you do the oath, until death do us part. But 2 weeks later, your wife or your husband cheated on you, and you start fighting, and then you divorce. The intention that was created in the past, it means nothing. And so whatever words of the good words and all this, it becomes it become a curse. And if people don't fully realize that they have this power, be able to create and change the future in that way. And they will learn to accept every single intention they've created, and they will take it up and learn it as a lesson, take it up like a man. So when they say till death do us part, it means till death do us part. It means they will take all the negative and the positive, in good times and in bad times, in in wealth or in poor, until death. And that's an intention that every soul created, and that's why we are here on this planet right now.
And if they're not in agreement, then you have to reintegrate them back into the society.
It's a trick, too. Don't answer that. Don't answer that. It's a trick.
Well, that's the old ways. I'm sorry, I forgot about it.
Yeah, like I always said, I always talk about how we Fijians we create intention in the olden days. That's why the people are eaten, because of intention. They've agreed to something, and that agreement includes the whole entire spirit and body. So if they create something that's disagreed with the agreement, then they will pay. They have to pay for not just their body, but their whole soul have to be integrated back into the system. And so, like you said, we use that as a as a statement for this new, how powerful a sovereignty of a person has supposed to be, and what it's supposed to be, what it's supposed to mean to someone. That the most powerful thing that you have is the awareness within, and to be able to, that's how if you create a reality and you change the reality, that it comes from within you. And to be able to fully do that, you have to realize that power and you stand with it, and that is done through the intention of the mind or the heart. And people have to try and if they want to create this future together, they have to do that. They have to do everything from the intention of pure that comes from within them, and they will be able to change anything. We'll be able to correct the past. We'll be able to correct anything that we want to correct.
Joey, let me ask you a question. In Fiji, are you required to get a marriage license to get married?
Marriage license to get married. I think the church minister or the pastor, he needs a license to do the ceremony, or to be able to go.
Well, okay, that's one kind of license. But what about the actual couple, the man and the woman, to get together? Do they require a license to get married?
A license? I think yes. I think they have. That's why they create the marriage certificate.
So the definition of a license is to do something the permission to do something that is already illegal. Right? So if you're, it must be illegal to marry people if you're a minister, unless you have a license, or it must be illegal to get married unless you have a license.
Right.
So why is it illegal to get married? Where is the law that says this? So really, what it is talking about is your birth certificate entities are doing a merger of corporations, of entities.
Yes. So it's illegal.
For those corporate entities, those birth certificates to come together into one, and you have to have a new cargo manifest or something. So that's why the terminology is there. But it is not illegal. Now, I was just before leaving America for my journey into the Asia. I got caught up into an event in Utah where 300 ministers and pastors from around the country gathered at the Mormon Tabernacle Choir. Now, it wasn't for the music; it was to have a meeting. And this is the first time that it ever happened. This is a very unusual event. And they were doing this for one purpose. They were all felt this pressure, and they all were very upset that it looked like that the government was going to force them to homosexuality into their religion and allow marriages and allow for Others went, of course, in their religions, irregardless of anyone's religion. Those religions excluded that capability of man and woman to get man and man to marry each other. It was you have to have one man and one woman to be married. That's what was their religion. So they were upset being forced to do that. So when this whole controversy came down, I had a connection to one of the people, and I sent basically research that could help them out with this controversy. And I said that what they need to do is stop marriage. You have a license, then you don't marry them, right?
I see.
Because there's marriage is between the man and the woman and God. So there's no need for a government to get in the middle of that operation. So just marry people outside of that. What would be that structure?
We do that. We do that here.
Say again.
We do that here in Fiji. You get married outside of government agreement.
So that's why I was asking if you have a marriage license that permits this, or the government is authorizing it. So this is so just stop participating in these actions is what the idea is. And I said then you take it to the next step. Once everyone is stopping getting married with marriage licenses, or getting a license to be a minister. That one didn't come up, but that would also, or why would you be a minister, right? So it's the government getting involved with God, right? So they're not.
It's funny, they have license to be baptizing people too. So you see what it means.
Yeah, so it's not their business. Right? It's not their. Well, this should be their concern. Business is a wrong word in that phrase. It is their business. They're trying to expand their commerce, is what they're trying to do. They're trying to expand their business by making people take licenses. So
I'm not a fan of any time God or spirituality is turned into a business.
Indeed.
The Messiah said something like, give unto Caesar what is Caesar's,
yes.
God what is God's, right? At the end of the day, you can't pay for it. I actually do. I have my minister's license, as a matter of fact, but and I've preached at 100 different organizations all over the country. But I've never taken a dime to preach because I can't accept money for the preaching of the gospel, because what it does is immediately, as soon as you pay me for it, then now I have to say what you want to hear, right? But the truth is the truth. Now, if you're trying to speak the truth, then that message can't be adulterated because somebody's paying you. And I've taken some ministers to task about this before, and they've admitted to me openly. They've said, well, look, but I have a congregation. I have bills to pay. Now, there's the problem. There's the problem. You're catering your message.
I think your volume is a bit low.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's much better.
Yeah. So I'm not a fan of catering the message to appease people that, just to make them feel better, when that's not what the intent was in the first place. The intent was to inform people, to help them along a better path. That's the way it goes.
It's true. Yeah, so why the reason why we're discussing this is just the changes that will be implemented, and I know we are working. I mean, the work that I'm doing here right now, we just realigning the spiritual awareness of people, introducing them to all these different knowledge or different the awareness of what the law of disease is and the true structure of some of the history according to what the trust is supposed to be, and on the trust, the history of the trust, and people were able to be able to see where they stand, and they're able to fully understand who they are, the role of the spiritual energy within them, and just remembering themselves. And they stood up today. They were just witnessing, they were discussing, they wanted to share what they are facing, the changes that they are coming, the changes that they are facing at home, by changing the reprogramming the whole, their entire personality, the characters, and because now they fully realize that they have the strength and the power to do that. No one else will be able to do that for them. And they're saying that the families are seeing the changes, and they're telling them, you are not like before, you're always angry and all this, and now you are calm and relaxed, and you're more composed and you're more controlled. And I can see people growing, and I can see people changing, and now they're more responsible. So it's no longer about the illusions of assets or the money and all this. These are just like the Bible, what Jesus said, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added. And that's what they're doing here right now. The spiritual energy within them, they are finally waking it up and reorganizing the DNA, reorganizing the awareness. They're able to heal themselves, heal the past, and able to actually reconstruct a new future for them and change the whole entire way of looking at things. Just like what Thomas always said, think differently. Now they're able to do that because they're able to be empowered, able to realize and think for themselves, and they're so. I'm so happy that it's already the people here already can see it, and we all can see what needs to be changed on the nation. We all can see the lessons that we all been learning, and we all understand. And the more they learn about the law of the seas and the law and all the languages and the values that the true value of those words and what it means to us and the different meanings to what the law stands for and the status of how everything works, and how everything works as a corporation or a ship. And they are aware, they're more control, and no longer they're beginning to no longer see them as victims, but this looking at all these things as a lesson, and how they will be able to change in the future. So I'm happy that I'm doing this here. There's so many people coming in today. There was a lot of people standing up and just witnessing and just sharing about the changes that they're feeling inside them. Some of them just came once, maybe just spend 1 hour, 2 hours together, and they're already changing. It's because they've already have the experience, they already have the know, they already have the wisdom. But as soon as we come, a few words that is spoken, a few knowledge that's introduced into the mind, into the awareness, they're able to just fit in together with what they've been going through. They've been going through all their life, and they're able to change instantly. They're able to realize the fifth element that is within them, and they're able to be aligned with their life, with their loved ones, with their family, the villages, and they're coming now every day, and they're able to do align them. So we are going to be doing that in a massive scale, not just here in Fiji, but all around the Pacific and all around especially because of the connection that we have in our native agreement, the 12 tribes in the Pacific. This would include us, the Hawaiians, the Tongan, Samoan, Vanuatu, the New Zealand of Maori, the Maori New Zealand, the Aboriginal tribes. The Aboriginal tribes are also reaching out to me in Australia, so I'm very thankful for them. And
we have
yes.
another meeting today, a couple hours after this broadcast, with the Hawaiians.
Oh, okay, set.
I'll send you the link.
Yes. Yeah, so that would be good. I look forward to that. It's just that sometimes when you guys have meeting, I'm traveling home. I'm traveling back to where I come from. I live a little far from where we always meet here right now with the other chiefs and the elders. Yeah, and so I got to talk with Robert yesterday. With Robert, yeah. So
Robert and Travis.
Yeah, I think we're supposed to meet today, but I will wait for them until they're able to actually come up with a time or in a place. They're coming up to Suva. So I'm thankful for the projects that they're working on, that bio fuel technology that they that can provide electricity efficiently here in Fiji to the islands. So yeah, it's just coming together. And once we align ourselves with the trust, and all things will just come together. I know right now there's a lot of stuck. They're stuck on some of the governmental levels, and because everything in the government right now is focused on economy and not on the people. And so the government is so focused on economy that they are willing to sacrifice people for for money. And we will change that, because they can see, because that's the way we have been taught in schools, in universities, and where they've studied all this economic. They don't understand. They look at people as human resources. And I'm sorry.
Robert has a very good understanding of the Fiji government. He's been working there for a while, and he told me that the assistant prime minister is an Indian, right? And he becomes acting prime minister when the prime minister leaves the country.
Yes.
And then everyone in the central bank they put in there is Indian, and so everyone dealing with money is Indian.
Yes. They're not just Indians, they're Muslim. Understand?
Indians, yeah.
So yeah, they've infiltrated the Fijian government in a very calculated way to be able to control all the finance and everything on the. But that won't happen once we become sovereign. Because once we become sovereign, we will be aligning the Fijian government in a very calculated way.
Be all Fijian then, right?
No, because one thing they did is they tried to put we have a trust here. We call it the native land trust board, which is a trust that looks after the land of the native people. Because if you didn't know this, but there was a Fijian man. He was one of the chiefs in the early 1800s and 1900s. He was able to protect us from the law of the sea, and he created the law of the land. And so every Fijian native they had a book of life that their name was written on, because they were able to actually keep them, and they are able to own land as sovereign beings. And so we have that, we call that the Native Land Trust Board. It's a trust that his man actually uses. He went to Oxford, and because he went to Oxford, and he was introduced by the people. Like they told him that the whole thing has been run by the law of the seas. If you want to protect your people, you have to go back to Fiji and create the law of the land. And so that's what he did. And in Fiji, I know in the Pacific, I think only Fiji did that. And we were able to actually have a native land transport where all the tribes in Fiji owns.
Is there a version of that in English?
What do you mean? What do you mean
law of
legally?
the land.
Oh, it's in England. That's what operating the London city. That's the law of the land.
Okay, so I was just saying he went back and made I thought he went back and made a document, law of the land, for Fiji, and so the people's names are written.
Oh yes. I think yes. They have it in the archives, and so they have it in the archives, that law of the land.
To read that.
Yes. And so that's why I said Fiji will be able to teach a lot of people in the world about the relationship between the people and what the land and what sovereignty means, and to be sovereign, to own land, and not just land, because right now they try to change it to lands, just a few meters on top of the soil, which is not land. It's not lands. It's land. And so land means um, thousands of miles up in the air and thousands of miles into the. So that means every minerals and everything underneath.
Gotcha.
So yeah, and so right now we are just going to wait for this corporate government to actually change and repurpose, and we'll be able to fully control the minerals and all this. And there are some places in Fiji they're still owned by the crown corporation or the queen, because of the value. because they know that there's gold in the like there's mineral resources underneath. And so as soon as we're sovereign, all these things will be revoked. They will have to. There's no more sovereignty on the planet right now, except for I was telling the Fijian chiefs yesterday, we might be the first sovereignty to be expressed on the planet right now. All the other monarchs right now on the planet, their agreement has already come to an end in 2017. So we are fortunate to be the first one to recognize Kim as a main sovereign, and not just that, because we fully understand what her role is. And that's why we would be the proper person to actually tell it to the whole planet. Because if they say it themselves, it won't have the worth is very it's like they're talking about themselves. But if it comes from outside, that will create they will have a lot of value to the rest of the planet. Because we'll be and believe me, like I said, as soon as we get our sovereignty, that's the first thing that is being doing that we're gonna do. We're gonna do that to everyone on our here in Fiji, and everyone in the Pacific, and anyone the whole world will be listening, and they will know what the trust is and what the Manna whole holding trust is. They will know the history of it. They will know the true history of the planet. And if it comes from outside, it doesn't come from the trust. It will have a lot of value to the because it's from a different perspective. Because I was listening yesterday, I know. Thank you actually did a show on the project Speak, the Speak project radio. You guys were talking about, and somebody came in, and it's funny when people don't really understand or don't really know about what the trust is or about Kim. I was laughing because they innocently just say things out, and I can understand the background and the knowledge, even though they've learned so much knowledge in their life. It's all meaningless when they won't be able to do anything with it. All this knowledge will just be burdens, because they will see and understand everything, and the slavery system and all this, and what can we do to change this, what's the solution to all this, and they will never be able to come up with it. Because like I said, the solution is right now. It's what we're doing right now for humanity to realize that humanity itself have the chance to do it on their own now. They have back in control. And and some people will think about I hear the Hawaiians talking about who's going to be the king, who's going to be who's going to be there. I said all the sovereignty that existed before 2017 has been come to an end. It means it doesn't exist anymore. So they can start anew. The chiefs in Hawaii, they'll be able to start anew. They truly realize what has happened. Because a lot of them, they think those sovereignty has been given from no one was sovereign those times, except it was given from the Great White Throne. And the chiefs in Fiji fully understand it. And there was a relationship between the Great White Throne and the Vatican and the monarchs of England, and that's why we ceded Fiji to the English monarch, or to the Queen. And like I said, in 1970, the Queen gave back everything: the land, the people, and the culture, and they wanted to protect, because the Great White Throne knew there's a role that Fiji will play in this change. And so we have this wisdom, and we kept it. And so as soon as as soon as I reached out to you, this wisdom was able to be it was able to be known, and the awareness was able to be known by other people. But we've been keeping it until a month ago, until the first day that I started talking with you and started relaying the message about the role that the chiefs in Fiji will be able to play. And so yeah, the change I know is we're preparing. We'll have to prepare for that, and thank if by the time we'll ask for your help to be able to advise us on the um, setting up of the terminal when it comes time to do it. So we'll be looking forward to that. And
Me
yeah,
too, man. I'm excited to be able that you guys have the inroads built already to do something like that, and that's something we've at the end of the day, what you're doing is absolute transparency, which has been nearly impossible to get because the hardest place to access in every bank is the transfer room. So the transfer rooms are kind of maintained as these secret locations because of the corruption that goes on in the banks. So for you guys to be doing it this way, the right way, and to know that we have you there and people that you're working with is of great comfort to me. That's of great comfort to me. So
Indeed. Yeah. The people here are happy as well. They are very happy for what is happening. And I said, yeah, it's like I said, it's not our role to the assets and the money and all that. That's not our agreement. Our agreement is spiritual energy, and that's to be returned to every person on the planet. And we will fulfill that, and we will do every. We'll use the body, our mind, and the way we'll do things physically to be able to remind people and to be able to create awareness and to be able to tell the whole planet and to be able to to regenerate our planet to the way it's supposed to be. And that's why I'm thankful. I'm thankful to you guys for what you've been doing and all the hard work that you guys have been doing. Today, the chiefs, some of I'll call it Tambati, they're already at work, reaching out to the central bank and getting information, and we'll be able to talk to the prime minister and the military, and we'll be able to because that's the only people that can change our place. It's us. So once everyone understands everything, we will all do the right thing. We will all do everything out of love. And if we're able to do that here, and people will be able to see it all over the world, they will be able to learn from it. No one will be, we don't have to like create a lot of drama, trying to change and try to, change the whole place and go through all this drama that we've been through for the past 26,000 years. Because it's a really easy thing if you look, look deeply into it. There is, we just have to come realize that we are all sons and daughters of the living Creator that is within us, and we change our lives and we create a new future. Um, Except there'll be a lot of people, but as soon as they come into the know, as soon as the awareness grows, they'll do, they will do the same thing. So yeah, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to working with you, Tank, and with you, Dan. Thank you for introducing me to Robert and Travis. I know there's a lot of things they'll be able to learn too from us, and a lot of things that we'll be able to learn from them because there's a lot of technologies out there. I've heard there was not a medicine but a tablet that's going around now in Fiji that can heal um, anything, regenerate, help the body to regenerate itself. It's so similar to what um, Tank was talking about. It's just a few ingredients, natural ingredients that just create. It just make the body to be intelligent enough to actually stimulate the regeneration of the body. Whether it's like whether you have diabetes and you can heal your wounds, it will be able to do that. And people are using it here. They're paying for it. We'll be able to do that for free, and we'll be able to work on that. I know if because I've actually seen how these people are introducing it. They said, yeah, these are just natural things that is there available around us, and it's just given us a chance to actually help regenerate the body. And yeah, so thank you so much, Dan, and thank. We'll be looking forward to to changing the world.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
We're underway, or it's happened.
Right.
We're just catching up with what already happened.
All right, construction is underway.
we got a lot to do.
Sorry, Tank. Is there any? Because I was not in the beginning of the show. Did you guys do an update?
Not yet. So Kim has been out of commission all day, which doesn't that means either she's on the run and she went underground, or she's been working on the system all day, or she has nothing to report, which means that she's been working in meetings to negotiate terms with whomever. So one of those things is happening, but
Nice.
She didn't. She hasn't responded to me today, so I know where she left off last night. The last thing she said to me at about just after 9 o'clock was that she had identified some interferences as to why the transfers weren't clearing directly to people's accounts. Her goal has been to make it so there is absolutely no human interference in the transfer process, and she had identified them and she was working on clearing them last night, but she had not cleared them to the best of. I mean, she has not cleared them today,
Nice.
or I would know.
Well,
So
yeah,
can't be far off.
sounds good. Yeah, we in Fiji we can feel we're not far off now. We're just enjoying this moment that we still have time to do things, and because I know once we start, we won't have time to do anything else but focus on the focus on. So I'm telling the chiefs, yeah, you have to enjoy this time because you're still free. Once the money comes in, they will just magically things will just come into your mind for you to do. So you have to learn to be able to look after yourself and to be able to control the flow, your awareness, and please don't let the money affect you in a way that because I know the people will. It will take time for them to adapt to these changes, but I'm not underestimating the 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 spiritual essence of the living creator within us. It will learn, it will change, and within this generation, 2 generation, 3 generation, everything will become so much different. So yeah, at this point in time is quite is very important because we are at a state that even though we um, we are looking forward to to the future, to the now that things will change. But when it comes, I already know it's there, so I'm not worried about anything. I'm just trying to prepare myself and prepare people so that when the time comes, they will be truly ready and yeah, we'll be able to do the right thing at the right time at the right moment, and or not just that, but not to hurt each other or not to be overwhelmed by these changes, because yeah, it will be overwhelming when it comes. And so even right now, there's some reaction, and when they know that it's gonna come soon, they're trying to plan, and then they even they're thinking so hard that it's causing them it's overwhelming them. So they I said, take it easy, you know
Take it
don't let
easy.
this change who you are.
Yeah.
Don't let this change who you are. You just have to stick to your role and be yourself. The energy outside of you, you're controlling. Don't let the energy outside of you control you. Otherwise, all these things will be sovereign in your life,
Right. Oh,
and
you. Right.
yeah, and you'll miss the point of trying to free yourself. And that's a lesson that everyone will have to learn. All the lessons that everyone with the projects will have to learn. And yeah, I'm thankful that we're discussing it right now. So people that are listening in, thank you so much for the time, the time to actually be here and listen in, and all everyone that is on the chat room, thank you so much for your time. you know um, I'm just discussing something real, because money can it can change you. It can change a lot of people when the time comes when you have it. Yeah, so I'm telling the people in Fiji, yes, it's not our thing. We just have to use it to actually express the love that is within us, to be able to nurture, and to be able to teach other people around us to love, and to truly love one another, because we are not different. We're just the same. And to be able to nurture that expression of love that is within everything and that is in everyone. And so, yeah, I guess I will just say goodbye, and I'm thankful to everyone. Love and blessing from Fiji, and look forward to be working with you guys in the future, whoever you are, whatever part of the planet you may be. We will all have to work together. Kim and the team, thank you so much. People might not know it, but they need us, and we need them. We need each other to actually change this and move forward into this new future. And yeah, so love and blessings to everyone, and may God bless us all.
Yes, indeed.
Indeed.
I think that's a wrap.
And that sounds like a good end. So please, people out there, share the video. Get this out there. Give the likes. We're only at 76 likes. Go on, get the likes out there. Make positive comments. If you do make negative comments, you will be removed. I removed 2 people.
Yeah.
If you're removed from means you'll be
But if
banned.
you have an intelligent oppositional opinion, we're going live in 30 minutes on speakproradio.com, and you are welcome to bring your controversy, and I will very politely deal with anything I can, and I'm sure Dan will as well.
Sure, no, I'm very happy for intelligent debate, but it's the obvious trolling that's out there. It's like a social. There is no conversation that can be had. That's why they never come on, because there's nothing they can say. They don't want to. There's no opinion. There's nothing they can defend. They have no evidence. They have no other than an opinion that's negative.
Yeah, I know.
Uh,
Let's not empower it. Everything's wonderful. Everything is awesome. Like the Lego movie
yes,
says.
indeed.
We'll be coming back in about half an hour on Blogspot Radio, but also on this YouTube channel. So we'll see you soon.
Cool gang.
Peace.
All right, bye, everybody.
From Fiji.
Peace.
Take it
Peace
easy.
out from New York.